welcome back to Emmy Lou Books. So in today's video, I'm not actually going to be talking about books at all. I'm going to be having more of a discussion video and I'm going to be talking about BookTube. So I have been part of the BookTube community for about 8 months now, nearly 9 months, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I've met some really nice people, everybody's been very welcoming and very nice, and it's definitely reignited my love for reading. I'm reading a lot more, which is definitely a positive thing. So something that I have noticed while being on BookTube is that while there is a lot of positivity, there is also a little bit of negativity too, and this seems to be mainly from people who are not part of the BookTube community. There is some sort of within, but it seems to be sort of mainly from people who are not part of the community but sort of comment and leave videos basically saying how much they hate BookTube and that BookTube sucks. So I thought it would be really interesting today to kind of take some of those critiques or issues that people have with BookTube and go through them one by one and then give you my own personal view on that particular issue. So something I have seen a lot of is people complaining about elitism in BookTube. First of all, I think it's really unfair to target the bigger booktubers. The reason why their channel is as successful as it is because they work really hard at it. There is a lot of time and money and effort that goes into making videos, and a lot of the big booktubers have invested a lot of their own money into a fancy camera and lighting and the latest software to make videos because it's their passion. I also think that if you've been on BookTube for 2, 3, even 4 years, it's difficult for the bigger booktubers because they have more challenges in the sense that they've kind of already done all the videos that they want to do. So in a sense, they're kind of just regurgitating videos that they've already done, which is really difficult because obviously they have to make their videos interesting and fun for people to watch, as well as trying to come up with new ideas. So it's really not easy to be a booktuber, and there is definitely, I can imagine, a certain amount of pressure involved with being a more successful booktuber. So I am subscribed to most, if not all, of the big booktubers, and I have never seen any of these people even hint at the fact that their opinion is the only opinion that matters. None of these people seem arrogant to me. They all seem really lovely and approachable, which is why they are as successful as they are. To me, this whole thing just kind of screams of jealousy. It kind of seems to me that the people that seem to be complaining about elitism in BookTube are maybe people that have been part of the BookTube community or have tried to, create a channel and it hasn't been as successful as they wanted it to be, so they feel the need to kind of lash out to the people at the top, which is a shame. So another thing that I see a lot of people that don't like BookTube saying is that the books that booktubers talk about are for immature readers and that all the books that we discuss are the same. I really hate it when people talk about maturity when it comes to forms of entertainment, whether this be books or movies or music. I feel like I have experienced this to a certain extent. I have always been a huge fan of Disney, and I have definitely had people in the past question why I am the age that I am and why I love Disney. And I think that this definitely applies to books as well. And my kind of feeling on this is, who's to say what's mature and immature when it comes to books or reading or fashion or anything? It's just personal preference. So I think it's really unfair to say that the books that booktubers are discussing are immature because that's completely a matter of opinion. When it comes to all the books being the same, mostly what they were talking about, and I'm not going to mention any names in this video because I'm not here to target any specific person or people, but they are, I think, talking about YA fantasy. So yes, it is true that booktube, a lot of booktubers do like to talk about YA fantasy, but all it takes is just a little bit of research, because there are booktubers out there that don't just talk about YA fantasy, or even don't talk about YA fantasy at all. So it just takes a little bit of research to find them, but they are out there. Or, you know, alternatively, if you want to be part of the booktube community and you don't think that the books people are reading are very diverse, then join and start your own channel and talk about books that you like. So another complaint that I've seen about booktube, and this comes up a lot, is that booktubers are too positive and they only give 4 or 5 star ratings to books. This is kind of weird to me because I don't see this as a bad thing. I think that if you're reading books that you're giving 4 or 5 stars to, it obviously means that you really, really like the books that you're reading. And it's not true that booktubers just give 4 or 5 stars. There are a lot of booktubers who are a little bit more critical, and I think that being critical of your books comes with practice and with time. I myself have become a much more critical reader over the time being on booktube. Mostly I do give the books that I read 3, 4 or 5 stars, but that's just because I've genuinely enjoyed them. So a big one that a lot of people say that they really, really don't like seeing on booktube is that if the video is sponsored, then all of the opinions in that video are obviously fake. Again, I don't think that this is very fair. I think that if you've reached a stage where you are a successful booktuber and that people want to sponsor your videos, great. I think that's absolutely amazing. I don't think it's fair to say that just because someone's video has been sponsored, that automatically all of their opinions are going to be negative. And I have seen a lot of videos where the video has been sponsored and the person has given the book 3 stars or 2 stars. So I don't think that it's necessarily true that just because somebody has sponsored your video that you're automatically going to give it a higher rating than you would otherwise. Another complaint about booktube that I've seen is that to be a booktuber, you have to read and buy a lot of books. Obviously, because this is the booktube community and it is talking about books, but that doesn't mean that you need to be constantly buying the latest books or lots of books. There are a lot of booktubers that talk about older books, and you know, a book is a book. If you've read a book and you like it and you think that it's interesting and you have something to say about it, people will watch your video. So I definitely think it's a misconception that in order to be a successful booktuber, you have to be constantly buying books, reading books, or having the latest books. So this kind of comes on nicely to the second complaint, sort of linked with the first one, that all booktubers read the same book at the same time. Obviously, if there is a new and upcoming book that people are really, really excited about, chances are that people are going to be talking about that book. But it doesn't mean that every single video is going to be the same. People are going to have different opinions, different views, different things to say about the book. So I really, really like it when, for example, at the moment, a lot of booktubers are talking about King of Scars. And I really like seeing what different booktubers have to say about that book, because I feel like every booktuber can bring in something new, a different point of view. So I don't necessarily think that that's always a negative thing if all booktubers are talking about the same book. So something else that I've seen people outside and sometimes even within the booktube community complain about is that in order to be a really big and successful booktuber, you have to have an amazing background. So again, I think that this is something that definitely takes time. My background is not that amazing because I don't really have that many books yet. But booktubers who do have a lot of books, obviously they're going to be putting the books on bookshelves, and why not make it look nice? I don't think that if you want to be a really big successful booktuber that you have to have a specific background. I think that Like I said before, the bigger booktubers spend a lot of time, a lot of work and effort goes into making sure everything looks nice. And don't forget, it's not just booktube, but a lot of the bigger booktubers also, you know, they have to make sure that their Facebook is up to date. They have to make sure that their Twitter is up to date. Their Instagram is up to date, as well as posting videos regularly. So there's a lot that goes into it. So I think it's unfair to kind of say something negative about someone who's clearly putting in a lot of hard work and effort into their video. If I see a video where the background is amazing, I just think, well done. You've put a lot of effort into this video and into your passion, and I respect that. So I do have to say that from looking at a lot of these videos, I would say 98% of these sort of rant videos about booktubers have been from girls. I think that this is such a shame because I do definitely feel like there is an element of jealousy involved in this. And I just feel like if you don't have anything positive to contribute to a community, then you don't have to be part of BookTube. If it sort of annoys you so much, or if you hate it so much, then you can find another community that sort of better fits you. Or like I said before, if you think that there are so many problems, start making your own videos, and then you can sort of do what you think is right and go in the direction that you want to go in. So that concludes today's video. I hope that you found it interesting. Please do leave comments below because I would love to know your thoughts on any of this. If there are some that you agree with, or if you inherently disagree with everything, I would love to know. So please leave your comments down below, and I will see you soon for another video. Bye!